Eliza Fletcher is a pre-kindergarten teacher and married mother of two who was abducted in Memphis while jogging in the early morning hours of September 2nd. On September 4th, Memphis police announced the arrest of a suspect, Cleotha Abston, who was charged with kidnapping. As it turns out, this is not his first offense for kidnapping. As of this recording, Eliza has still not been found. Hey everybody, and welcome to the True Crime Squad. This is Katie Weaver. I'm here with my sister, co-host, and partner in crime, Kristi Brower. Hello.
Hello, I'm back.
Guess who's back? Back again.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back. I'm glad to have
Thank you. I'm glad to be back. It's so weird to miss the podcast. It's a very strange feeling. I constantly feel like I'm supposed to be somewhere,
Yeah.
Even when recovering from surgery, it's still like, aren't I
Right.
supposed to be somewhere right now?
Yeah. Where you were supposed to be is on the couch, but
yeah,
I hear that, and I'm
still
glad
is.
you're back.
But yeah, I am very glad to be back. And thank you so much for all your hard work and Scott's hard work and Kelly for covering for me last week. Lots of great stuff happened I saw, and I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, anytime.
Yeah.
But let's not do this again.
No, I think I'm done with cancer. Thank you very much.
Good thing you only have one uterus. It's over.
Yeah, one uterus. That sucker's gone. No more.
Yeah.
No more bullshit from this
That's
uterus.
right.
That is for sure.
Indeed. Well, good. Well, this is our Monday episode, and of course, we're covering Eliza Fletcher because that is the case kind of sweeping the nation right now. We've been tracking it for days, and I can honestly say I'm glad that we waited to record until right now because so much has happened so fast.
It's been hard to stay up on.
It's been wild. And in fact, we waited clear until Monday morning to record because we wondered if they would have found her by now. They haven't, but there's still a lot to talk about. But before we get there, of course, we have a few segments for you. So, Kristi, you're going to kick us off with some MMIW cases.
Yes, I am. Now, we know, and you know, that any missing persons case deserves the kind of action and coverage that Eliza Fletcher has had. We also know that that is not what actually happens. So, this is our shameful exploitation of covering Eliza's case, while also covering some missing Indigenous children, teenagers. So, we're going to talk about them. You're going to see a real stark difference between the information that I have on these cases versus Eliza Fletcher, because I literally just have missing posters. That's it. There are no news articles, there are no helicopters, there's no nothing looking for these young women. And that's why we're covering on this, because we know that many of you will watch or listen because of Eliza's case. And who knows if something might spark a memory.
Yep.
So let's start with Chaz Nayneecassum. Chaz is from Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. Chaz is 14, female, has been missing since the 18th of July of this year. And that is literally all we know.
Oh, gosh.
But please take a look at Chaz. I'm showing, if you're not on the video, please come join us either over on YouTube or in our True Crime Squad podcast discussion group on Facebook. I will be posting all of these missing posters there so that you can take a look at the faces that we are posting. All right. Let's talk about Alorah Wilkerson-Carlson. Alorah was last seen in San Bernardino, California on Sunday, August 28th of 2022. Alorah is 16, female, 5'2" and 120 pounds. Currently has brown hair, or has been known to be blue or different colors. Brown eyes, last seen wearing ripped jeans, white Air Forces, and a black McLovin t shirt. And so, of course, you can contact your local police if you know anything about Alorah Wilkerson-Carlson. Wilkerson-Carlson. And let's talk about Maylinda Knoles. Maylinda Knoles has been missing since July 14th of this year from Downey, California. She was born March 10th of 2006. She's 16, female. Her race is American Indian. She has black hair, brown eyes. She's 5'1" and weighs 130 pounds. This is all we have on Maylinda Knoles, guys. So come take a look. And let's do another one here. This is Anna Songbird Faith Galloway. She is missing from Fort Hall, Idaho, which is about 25 miles from where I live.
Yeah.
She's been missing since August 7th of 2022. She is 15, female, Native American. She's 4'10", weighs 135 pounds, has brown to reddish hair and brown eyes. Again, this is all we know about Anna.
This is also the first I have seen of this case.
Yes, me too. Have not seen anything about this young lady. She's been missing for almost a month in our area. Had not heard this at all until I went looking.
I also take exception on posters like this that say missing/runaway of children.
Yes, me too.
Because I don't care if she was a runaway or you're deeming her as a runaway. That could mean a lot of things.
Yes.
It also doesn't necessarily mean she's a runaway.
No. What it means is she's a child who is in danger. She is 15 years old.
Yep. And we know that when teenagers run away, their chances of ending up in human sex trafficking are extremely high.
Right.
We also know that when we deem them runaways, they could easily be kidnapping victims from a phishing scam. From some kind of
brushed under the carpet.
Yeah. Well, girls this age sometimes get scammed on the internet and catfished and take off for what they think is a good thing that isn't, and so on and so forth. I hate how the term runaway suddenly lowers the bar.
Yes,
every time I see that.
Oh, this is just a rotten teenager getting in trouble. She's a child. Whatever she's running to, she has no way of knowing if she is safe or keeping herself safe. So we will be keeping a very close eye on the Anna Galloway case, considering it is local to us.
Yeah.
As well as all of these others. All right. Well, I have a few more, but I think, Katie, I'm going to kick the mic back to you right now for our missing person spotlight of Eliza Fletcher.
You bet. All righty. Well, of course, as you know, Eliza Fletcher is missing. Eliza Fletcher is a mother of two. She's a pre-K teacher, and she went jogging early in the morning, 4:30 in the morning in Memphis a few days ago. Yeah. I don't see the outsides of my eyes at that time.
No.
but this was her normal routine, to get up really early and jog and take care of herself before it was time to, wake up her little children and take care of them and go to work and, live her normal life. Well, on that day, she didn't come home. She didn't come home from jogging. And normally she would have been home around 5:30ish, 6ish at the latest, but she didn't. And her husband waited and finally called the police, of course.
Mm-hmm.
This was, of course, on September 2nd. So he called the police somewhere around 7:30, 7:45 on that morning. And the police sprang to action. A couple of things to know about Eliza. Mostly, that she is not someone who would take off from her life or do anything rash. She also is the heiress to a billionaire's fortune. Her grandfather owned, I believe, a hardware company, a hardware supply company, and her family is exorbitantly rich. So at first, a lot of people thought maybe this was some kind of kidnapping
Ransom.
for ransom. Yeah,
Yeah.
but as far as we know, no ransom has come in.
Right.
The police immediately started searching, and it didn't take them long to find a couple of things that were really suspect. Her phone smashed to pieces, her water bottle, and a pair of men's champion slides. So they took those slides and they did DNA. Now, this really is interesting to me because we've been told for a long time that running DNA is not like you see on TV, where it goes straight to a crime lab and they run DNA and they have an answer in 10 minutes, right? Well, in this case, it was.
Yeah.
They had the DNA in no time, and they linked it up to a man named Cleotha Abston. And we'll tell you more about Cleotha here in a few minutes. But they also were able to get a partial plate off of the CCTV. There's not a lot. The CCTV, you'll see a lot of sites right now advertising that they have it. They don't. There's a few still images. Of course, this is one of them on the right of her jogging and what she was
Mm-hmm.
wearing. But there was also a partial from the vehicle. The vehicle was a dark SUV. It turned out to be a Traverse, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess the license plate was conspicuous. And so it gave the police a few things to go on. So, of course, they started their investigation, and it didn't take them long to have Cleotha's name. And then they worked on hunting him down. In the meantime, someone who worked at McDonald's called the police and said that they had just thrown away some stuff and discovered some clothes in the dumpster that looked a whole lot like the missing woman's.
Yeah.
So on Saturday night, that McDonald's became a crime scene, at least their parking lot and that dumpster. And that whole area was closed down. The police and the FBI were present, searching the dumpster, searching the area, and knocking on doors, asking everyone in that area if they have outside surveillance, if they have a Ring camera doorbell, and to please share their footage with them. And they continued to search right in that area and then a wooded area. Yesterday, they were out searching with dogs all the way around that area
Mm-hmm.
and some wooded places as well. And of course, an arrest was made. So we know that they arrested Cleotha Abston. We know that they have set his bond at $500,000, which is very upsetting to people in Memphis because they feel like there should be no bond until there's
Right.
some kind of picture of where Eliza is.
Right.
There's a couple of things in the arrest affidavit that are really concerning. Here's two lines that are at the very end of it that I think say a lot. As the abduction was violent, as captured on video, the suspect waiting for, then rushing towards the victim, then forcing the victim into the vehicle where she was confined and removed and continues to be missing. It is believed and supported by the facts and physical evidence that she suffered serious injury. Further, it is probable and apparent from witness statements that these injuries left evidence, blood, in the vehicle that the defendant cleaned.
Mm-hmm.
That's really concerning.
Well, one of his charges is tampering with evidence.
Yes. So he had ended up at his brother Mario's that day, the day of the kidnapping, and his brother said that he was acting very weird. He said that he took all of his clothes and put them in the sink and scrubbed them down, and that he spent a lot of time scrubbing out his vehicle. The police, of course, now have this vehicle, and as you know, blood is really hard to get completely rid of.
Yeah.
And they clearly have a fair amount of evidence here to
Yeah.
charge him with, and yet still no Eliza, which is very alarming at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Some things we know about Cleotha. He was arrested a little more than a decade ago for kidnapping.
Right.
He kidnapped an attorney with the help of a 12-year-old accomplice that he roped into this bullshit deal.
Well, wasn't he only like 15 or 16 when
Yeah, he was
Cleotha himself?
16. Hmm.
Like, they were just young teenagers.
Yeah, he was just 16. And they forced an attorney into their or into their trunk and drove around with him for 2 hours, forced him to get out of the car at an ATM to withdraw money. And at that point, the attorney screamed for help and got loose. Cleotha was sentenced to prison for 15 years, but he got out quite early, unfortunately, because he's out doing the same shit, it looks like, or
Yeah.
something similar. Uh, a weird coincidence with the attorney. The attorney worked in the same law office as Eliza's uncle, which doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it is kind of odd.
It is. Yeah. Like, why connection to this family twice? I mean, if it is truly coincidental, that is a big freaking coincidence.
It is. The other thing to know is that her grandfather was a district judge in Memphis.
Yeah.
There's some interesting connections here. So, I want to talk a little bit more about the evidence. So, what the things that the police are saying, they performed DNA tests on the slides. So, the slides are the shoes that he left at the crime scene. Why did he leave his shoes at the crime scene?
Yeah. It's
So
very
they,
disorganized behavior.
yeah. So they took those shoes, those champion slides, and they have uh, some footage, surveillance footage from days prior to that, showing him wearing those slides. But also, and slides, if you're not aware, they're sandals, kind of, that
Just
men wear
slip
a
on.
lot. Yeah, slip on, like athletic shoes, not shoes, athletic sandals, kind of.
Hmm.
Here's the thing: he was already in CODIS because of his prior criminal activity.
Right.
And so they were able to get a hold of that DNA from the slides and run it through CODIS, and it didn't take them long. But I'm still blown away that he left his shoes at the crime scene.
Hmm. I'm also blown away that they got his DNA, the DNA from the shoes that fast.
Hmm.
So why doesn't everybody get DNA processed that fast?
That fast. Well, I would imagine a lot of people got bumped from the line to
Yeah.
get this one. And I'm glad they did. I mean, Eliza deserves to be found. Her case deserves
Of
to be worked.
course.
But this is just more evidence of our society where the white women, the pretty blondes, and the rich people get a lot more attention than anybody else does.
Right.
There was another missing person in Memphis at the same time, a 14-year-old girl, a 14-year-old black girl named Miracle. And I was going to do a story on Miracle today alongside of Eliza's, but Miracle has been found safe.
So
So
glad.
thank God for that.
Yeah.
But while we've all been hearing a lot about Eliza Fletcher, most of you never heard Miracle's name.
Nope.
And that's where our system is so broken that there
Mhm.
gets to be a picking and choosing of the cases that we care about in the media, in the police force itself, in the communities. There needs to be some change.
Well, in the allocation of resources, I mean,
Yes.
helicopters, drones, tons of police, DNA
Mhm.
processed in one day.
Yeah.
I mean, let's get real, you guys.
All not just DNA, but also digital footage or digital evidence. They
Right.
also had found the police had also located Cleotha's phone number and were able to ping his phone very close to where the crime happened. Well, we've been told in the past that it takes the FBI months to be able to get that information and get it processed and get it to the forefront. Well,
Right?
apparently, no. They can do it in a minute
Yeah.
if there's a billionaire family at hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I'm not dragging Memphis. I'm not dragging Eliza or her family. She deserves to be found, but so does everybody else.
Yeah, so does everyone else.
So as of now, 2 little boys don't have their mom. They've gone to bed now for 3 sleeps without a kiss goodnight from their mom or a kiss good morning. They're really little. They probably don't know or understand what's happening here at all. I kind of hope they don't. Her husband has no idea where his wife is. When this happened, one of the first things the police did was search her home and actually confiscated her vehicle. They came out of the house carrying a computer and a set of garden shears, and it set the internet on fire.
Yes,
That perhaps her husband was involved, that maybe this was him. As of now, there's no evidence to indicate that that's true. There's also no evidence to indicate it's not true, but there doesn't seem at this point to be any connection between him and Cleotha. There was also talk initially that there were 2 people in the vehicle that abducted her. As of now, the police are saying they only are aware of 1. So just to be clear on that, there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of argument, a lot of, as we do. But as of now, these are the facts of the case, that there's no evidence to indicate any of these things as of now. Now, her husband is a recovering addict, and that was part of the reason that people were wondering if he had something to do with this. But let's be clear. There's millions of recovering addicts in this world who aren't out murdering their wives.
Right.
And then there's some that are. In these cases, when a wife goes missing, the chance that the husband had something to do with it, the statistics say it's very high. And so, of course, we look at the husband. But let's be careful about keeping our mind open, because what we've learned so far is there's nothing tying the husband to this in any way.
Yeah.
Now, could things change as the evidence continues to roll out? Sure.
For
But right
sure.
now, this is what we know. I want to share a statement from her family.
And I am the uncle of Eliza Fletcher. On behalf of Liza's family, her husband Richie, her children, her mom Adele, her father Beasley, her brother Gil, and all the members of her family, we want to make a brief statement. We want to start by thanking everyone for their prayers and outpouring of support. Liza has touched the hearts of many people, and it shows. We want to thank the Memphis Police Department, Shelby County Sheriff Department, TBI, FBI, and all of the other law enforcement agencies who are working tirelessly to find Liza. The family has met with police, and we have shared with them all the information we know. More than anything, we want to see Liza returned home safely. The family has offered a reward for any information that leads to her safe return. We believe someone knows what happened and can help. If you have any information on this crime or Liza's location, call the police at 901-545-COPS or call Crime Stoppers at 901-528-CASH. Thank you.
Such a scary time for her family.
I cannot imagine. Especially knowing that there was blood in the vehicle and that she was injured and, and that her clothes were found.
Yep.
Terrifying.
Yep. Well, and they did immediately put up a $50,000 reward, and people were very critical of that. Why? Why would you only put up a $50,000 reward when you're billionaires? Well, people who work with hostage situations have an answer for that. And what they're saying is that is the maximum. Crime Stoppers will only do 10. And the reason why is because they want it to be enough money to tantalize people to come forward with information, but not so much money that they get gazillions of stupid ass leads that don't go anywhere from people who are just trying to make a buck.
Right, yeah.
So, because all of those leads have to be investigated and sorted through, and it takes an enormous amount of manpower. So while they want the credible leads, the more money you offer, the more less credible leads you get. that actually can just slow down investigations and prevent you from actually getting to the truth. So if you're wondering why a family that's that wealthy only put out that much money, that was probably a lot more than law enforcement wanted them to give.
Yeah, I'll bet it is.
And to be fair, they would probably give a lot more if it got their daughter home, their wife home, their sister home. But that's really standard procedure. So if you're curious about that, that's why. So what do we know right now? Well, we know that Cleotha is being held. We know that he is a kidnapper, that he's done this before. We know he's being held on a $500,000 bond. We know from neighbors of his brother. So he had been spending a lot of time at Mario's house. We also know that Mario got arrested that day too.
Yes.
And that has also caused a lot of scuttlebutt. Police are saying that his arrest has nothing to do with Eliza's disappearance. He was just quite the drug runner and was in possession of things and was in trouble.
Well, they searched his house, so.
Yeah, they searched his house. What they discovered was, that he's dealing drugs, and that's why he got arrested. They are not saying that he has anything to do with this kidnapping at this time, to clear that up. Now, again, this case has been moving and changing so fast that things could have changed by the time you watch this. So, recognize how the internet works, that we are recording this at about 11 o'clock in the morning Mountain Time on the 5th of September. And if you're watching this after this and information has changed, that's why.
Yeah.
Because that's going to happen in this case.
That's why we do a live update show every week.
I hope things change. I hope that the next thing we get to tell you is that she's been found. To be fair, I just updated my Twitter feed of the Memphis Police Department, and there's nothing there yet. So, but I hope today's the day. I hope someday's the day, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hopefully at some point he talks. But some of the neighbors of his brother say that he is creepy as hell. Yeah. That he has been harassing women there, that he's been, he offered somebody $100 to have sex with him, that he's been making people super uncomfortable since he's been hanging around there.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely got a history, and it's not like he even tried to cover his crime, really.
No. The shoes. I mean, I'm just blown away by the shoes.
Shoes. Yeah.
If he kicked him off in the skirmish and he just left him, if he threw him out because they were covered in blood and he didn't want to hang on to him, I won't understand that one. I just don't know. That's wild.
No, it indicates this was not, it may have been planned, but he is not an organized criminal.
No.
Because they're saying now they think that it was planned. But there are some things about it that made me really wonder how spontaneous this was.
Yeah, for sure. This happened right at the University of Tennessee's campus in Memphis.
Oh, right.
And it has made students there really nervous about whether they're safe or not. Now there's a suspect in custody, which has got to make them feel somewhat better. But especially the female college students on campus have felt very unsafe for good reason.
Right.
I can only imagine being in their situation.
Yeah.
Not good. But that's what we know so far. So we will continue to update this case. We'll continue to keep an eye on it and let you know what transpires. But until then, Kristi, I'm going to turn the mic over to you for a few more MMIW cases.
Yes. So let's share a few more slides of missing Indigenous women. Most of them actually children, teenagers. Oh, Anna, we talked about. Let's talk about, this is Heather Lynn Olson. She's missing in Minnesota. She is Native American. She's 28, so she's a little older. She is 5'6" and 120 pounds, has brown hair and brown eyes. She was last heard from on July 7th of this year in Duluth, Minnesota. Last known location was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which Minneapolis and Duluth are not very far apart. Heather has a nose piercing, tattoos. She has roses on both forearms, Nona on the inside of her wrist, and an H on her left hand. That's very helpful. We're not even getting this much out of most of these cases, but at least to have like tattoos, piercings, those kinds of things that help you identify someone.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for Heather Lynn Olson in the Minneapolis and Duluth area in Minnesota. And then let's see. One more. This is Kassidy Sawarin. Kassidy is 15, female. Last seen on 7/13, so July 13th of this year. She, let's see. She's from Canada. She's missing out of Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada. So one more. So I will post all of these missing posters in our discussion group. It is True Crime Squad podcast discussion. Please take a look at them if you are from the areas we have mentioned.
That's on Facebook.
On Facebook, yes. Sorry, thank you. But take a look at these pictures. If you know anything, if you've seen anything, all you have to do is call your local police. They will give a place to call as well. But you can call your local police and say, look, I think I saw someone who's missing from wherever, and they will hook you up with whoever you need to talk to.
Yeah.
But please, let's use this momentum around Eliza Fletcher's case to not only find Eliza, but maybe we could find some of these other missing girls too.
Very good. All right. Well, thank you so much for all of those. All righty. Well, this is Monday. We'll be back Tuesday with a brand new episode. We'll be back Wednesday with a brand new episode. And we'll be back Wednesday night for case updates. All of our regular programming should carry on this week. All is well.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much for being here. Please like, share, subscribe. You know the works. And we'll be back. This has been yet another production of the True Crime Squad. Take care.
Bye, everybody.